Hello and welcome again. Here's another tutorial from MSAIDI'S Visualizers tutorial series. This is Mohammed Al Saidi, and today we will be working with After Effects to create the advanced audio spectrum that we've been talking about from several previous tutorials. So this one will be linked with PlanetSide 2, and so yeah, let's just start here by creating a new composition, and I'll call it audio spectrum advanced, with of course 1920 by 1080 60 fps, and we'll make it around 2 minutes. And okay, again, I'm just making it 2 minutes here because the actual original soundtrack is quite long, and I'm just shortening it here, and we'll keep the resolution at a quarter. So yeah, we are here onto our composition, and now what we can do is we can just get straight right into it. So I'll start off by creating a new layer here, and alright, so again, I'm just going to keep it at a quarter now for the sake of rendering issues, and so we don't slip into irresponsiveness and yeah, all these errors that we can always face with After Effects. Alright, so I can just explain what's gonna happen in the video. We're gonna create the so yeah, we're just gonna start now, and yep, now we've opened the file, and I'll start off by importing the background of Vanu Sovereignty, because this is going to be based on the Vanu Sovereignty clan or group in the game PlanetSide 2, since it had a really interesting emblem and I wanted to visualize it for a long time. So yeah, we'll actually ignore this part of actually making it fit onto the screen, since it actually looks alright from the beginning, and if we do play around with it, it will mess around the resolution. So if I just go here and I make it a full, yeah, we can see that it looks alright. So I'll bring it back to a quarter, and yeah, this looks alright. So what I can do now is that I will drop down here to my transform. Actually, in fact, we can just start off here by getting into a new layer. And wait, we can put an effect to it. Layer, effect, generate, and I'm not sure where the oh yeah, it's in color correction, I guess, but we were actually skip this for later on, but I have to find it because it's either the gradient ramp or the tint effect. Yeah, it's a tint effect, so we'll just leave it for now, and maybe we can start creating the masking. So yeah, we can go here into our mask tool, and we'll hit the ellipse tool, and we hold shift in the bottom of the composition and drag out to make this ellipsed masking of the photo here. But I'll go back and I'll recreate it just to make it a wider, and yeah, this will give us a really cool masking. So if I go down to my mask here and I get the mask feather out and I feather it out a little more, as you can see here, it will look even more interesting, as we created with our previous tutorials as well. So I'm just going to stretch out here the masks, since I'm not satisfied with the mask feathering a lot. And yeah, again, you can of course play around with this to make it fit whatever you would like it to look like. Alright, so yeah, mask feather it out even more, so we're actually getting some more estate out of it. It's occupying more space and it looks more spread out. Alright, so this is how we can create it. Now we can just, I remember now, so we go to image, effect, color correction, and it was tint. So we get this map black to white, or map white to black, and we can just here, I will just bring down the percentage of it, and not 100%. The tint will make it just a little less. So we can also go down here to effects and change it manually But so just to show you what I'm working with right now, I'm gonna go to effect, and yeah, this is the region that I'm working with. So tint, and we just bring down the percentage a little bit, and yeah, 48% seems alright. Seems 48%, yeah, around 48%. We're just gonna use this as again as the reference to creating the actual visualizer shapes and the masking. Okay, so yeah, so this is we've just created the tint. Actually, we might actually not be using the tint now. We can create now the solid, and we'll just call it nothing for now. We call it no, we can actually call it. We can call it audio spectrum. So this will indicate that it's the first one, the purple region of the emblem here, as you can see. Again, the solid doesn't matter, the solid color. We could just, yeah, we're just gonna bring back the mount now because forgot that we have to first mask it, and then we'll bring up the tinting. Alright, so now that we have the solid up, we can just straight away create the visualizer. So we go to effect, effect, generate, and audio spectrum. Or you can of course get it from the effects and presets, but you will be prompted with this dotted line over here in the start, and here we get our start frequencies, and of course every single part of the audio spectrum layer is prone to keyframing and animating. I'll just keep it at a third here so we don't fall again into these irresponsiveness issues. Alright, and yeah, so let's get into masking out the how it's going to mask on the shape itself. So I will start with my solid here selected. I'll go to my polygon tool. I go to my polygon tool here, and of course you can hit Q to like toggle around with them. Alright, so I will start off by hitting shift onto the keyboard and dragging out again. And this is just, I'm just putting it, the polygon tool, of course you can put it any kind of shape and then you shape it around, but the polygon tool, because it's a really good starter and it has a lot of sides to it, so we can just straight away use the pen tool on it, and we can start creating these dimensions, or these these sides that we have to fit around with actual visualization, with the masking that we're creating. Alright, so I'm just gonna mask around here the actual shape, and again, I'm just giving suggestions here. Of course you can use any emblem you want, but one thing you have to remember when you're shaping is that you want to be as accurate as possible, because this is a one-time shaping, and if we're gonna duplicate all the audio spectrums, we want them to fit correctly with it. So I'll just shape around here, I'll just mask around the shape here, and alright, so we can fall into this problem, but we just hit Control D and we get back our pen tool so we can start shaping it again. So I'll just go back here to my pen tool quickly. We can just stretch it out. Now we can use the pen tool, and this is how we can make it larger state of the masking itself. So just stretch it out, use the pen tool again, create another point, so you get all these tabs that you can mask around with, and really it's again the most attention, the least distances you keep between each tab of course determines how accurate you are masking around your shape. And so yeah, I'm just gonna be masking around here for a while. But our next step in this is that we're going to be creating the designs that will go around, the display options that will be input onto the display, onto the emblem itself. I'm going to go back here to my pen tool. Again, yeah, you always fall into these problems, but just remember that you're always using the pen tool to create these sides. Alright, and we're almost done with the first part of the logo here, and yeah, we can stretch it out here a little bit, create more sides, and yeah, again here, so I can just go back to my pen tool quickly. But you want to shape it perfectly again, so always look for the right positions where you keep it, where you're adjusting the pivot or the anchor points at. So yeah, here I'm getting another pen tool, and I'm creating another tab to it, so I can freely move it around and mask around. So I'll hit another tab here, and I will create more. I'm just outlining this body, this bottom body shape, and a little more here. And so yeah, of course, after this we're gonna tailor where it says the path. We're gonna make it to this mask shape, but after, of course, we're done with the masking. And again, you want to keep this the most detailed part of, exactly, the most detailed part of this whole composition, actually, because this is what you're basing every single visualizer on, and this is the most eye-catching part. And yeah. Again, I'm just creating a shape here. Maybe this is not the one that I will be using in the end, and this just comes down to your heart's content. You can change it, of course, make it whatever you want. You might not even be using this emblem. So this is just a walkthrough to actually masking to visualize in After Effects using the pen tool and audio spectrum visualizer effect. So yeah, I can get down here and I will shape around still. We're still creating the left side, as you can see. And now we got into this position where we get these problems with creating the pens. Oh, actually, we should put it onto full, because yeah, we're losing a lot of detail now. Maybe we can just go back and, we can just go back and adjust these problems that we have really skipped. So don't ever do that. Just keep it at a full when you're masking. We could have kept it at a full since we're actually not doing any movement, and it won't affect the render process. This is just a tip I'm suggesting. When you're working with big compositions, to keep it at a quarter or a third, or a quarter or a third or half, if you don't have like a strong PC or something to hold it with. So here I'm just adjusting back the problems that we've skipped, and yeah, some more adjustments here. Still creating these mask sides, or mask sides that we're gonna be visualizing on. So I'm just gonna create another one here, another pen side to visualize it even more detailedly. And here again, I'll grab my pen tool and I'll just walk around every single part of this shape. So I can stretch out here the tab once again, so I get more freer space to adjust. And now we're actually facing a really long side and straight line, so we're actually just gonna maybe not even create anything, so we can just stretch it out here and it'll fit the triangle itself. But here maybe we can slant it down a little more, and yeah, as you can see, the distance does not have to be big here, because again, it's a straight line, and everything will be logically falling down or equally spread out between each other. So it's already a shape that we're just going to outline, so we can just outline freely over here. And you might want to add in the head, or you might want to leave it out, but I would actually leave it out normally. And if I can just, I got this problem here again, and don't ever skip this problem because you've just moved around every single masking that you've done. Just hit Control Z and get back into it. And yep, we're just here adjusting the lower part. So we're going to be excluding the head here because it will involve more masking, and if we actually visualize it alone, it will create too many visualizations and it will look too congested, and it won't look as pleasant as we planned for it. So yeah, now we're actually almost done with our masking here. I'm just creating these last refining edges and these last touches that will matter again, because this is a really important part. And but yeah, so now we've got our masking done. I'll just check if there's any problems with it. No, it looks alright. Again, you can change your masking however you'd like it here, so but just always try to give it as much detail and as much attention as possible. We're also going to be giving that much attention to the second part of the visualizer, the second part of the emblem, which is the ring around it. And yeah, I guess now we can actually start syncing it to the. We can go here to the audio layer, and we can. Oh yeah, we still have to import the MP3 file. So let me just quickly go import that original soundtrack file from my library over here. And yep. Again, this can be any file you want, but I'm just making it OST, the Vanu OST from PlanetSide 2, to kind of relate it more to gaming and to give that emblem an actual reason for existing for the visualization. And so yeah, now I'm synced the audio layer to the PlanetSide 2 OST here, and the path under here is the mask one that we've just created. So with the solid head and effects controls here are to my effects controls. I'm just saving it quickly here. I'll quickly save my composition. Always make sure that you should save, because sometimes something can happen and After Effects won't respond. So just always save every single step you're doing. And path here, and I'll just mask it to I will assign it to mask 1. So yeah. Get into actually designing the shapes that we're going to be visualizing here, the masks. And to do so, I'll just quickly turn down the opacity of my background, so we have a clearer, clarified vision of the masking. As you can see, right now we can already play around, we can already see some animation happening, some visualizing. Well, of course, if I just go back to this and I just turn up the maximum height a little more, and now you'll see some movement happening, so it's already been masked to this shape. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and so this will be my digital no wait, let's make this one analog dots first. And with the analog dots, I'm going to make it a not side A and side B, just side B. Because we still can't see anything because I haven't put any maximum height to it or anything like that. But this right now is my analog side. No, sorry, this is my analog dots side B. I just like to rename so I don't get mixed up between anything. And for the start frequency, of course, we'll set it back at 20 and 200,000. So now we can see some more movement happening. If we just the value that I've just changed right now, that's the default anyways. So yeah, now we can get back to the frequency bands, and we can pump it up to around, I think 300 to 400, 350, 300, 390, 390 seems alright, 394 to be exact. Yeah, that seems alright. So this will be the side B, and that's the analog dots. With the maximum height, we're going to pump the height up so much, it's going to be, let's make it around 1,000, for example. Oh, right, okay, no, maybe even more, 1,400, say. Okay, you can see the really cool visuals happening on when we pump up some values. and this just makes it look crazy around here. Turn it down a little more, maybe this much, 1400. 1400 seems alright. As you can see, what I've done after I was done masking is that I found that this would be the best one. So we're gonna forget about the head part. It's not really gonna be visualizing the whole thing as we wanted it, but it's alright. So I just cut down through that part, and what the problem I faced when I shaped around this inner body here, as the cursor is indicating, is that they kind of met up in between, and the mask wasn't really successful. So this was the best way to do it, is to just trace around again, but forget about the head and that middle part. Don't make them collide, otherwise some errors will happen with the masking and it will not work as we wanted it to. Alright, so for the thickness I'm also going to set it up to 6, and this seems alright for my first audio spectrum part, for my analog dots. So what I'm going to do now is going to duplicate that, and now we can get to our analog lines. We can create this one, make it an analog line, and for the analog line it just looks really crazy right now. We're going to make it side A. Still looks crazy. We can just play around with the values, and this is how we can fix it. The frequency band will be 21. I don't want to make it a lot, not a lot. Maximum height as well as we want to make it shape around the body of the emblem itself. So the maximum height can be around 100 actually. And 111 seems alright, yeah. The thickness at 6, and as you can see, it's not completing really well around here. Okay, wait, I'm going to turn this down to a third now. It's not a big difference, you can see, and maybe even a quarter. Yeah, so you can see here that it's not completing it, so we can just, by making it complete, we can drag the frequency bands here, make sure that it's shaped already, the whole part of the body, and now this should be fine. If I just stretch out, and you can see from here that it's looking quite unified, and the motion happening around it, it looks really cool. And so yeah, now we can get to our third part. We will adjust the color later on. This is just to give an overall look of what the visualization is looking like. So wait, first we can just rename this, make it analog lines, and that was side A, not side B. Side A, yep. And the last one, of course, since we're using all of the three display options, I'll make this one a digital one, and this will be the kind of the one that's floating around, that's making the analog lines and the analog dots correlate between each other. So again, the start frequency would be set the same. Maybe pump up the frequency bands a little more. Give it let's say 100, 110, maybe a little less, 109. Okay, yeah, this seems alright. As you can see, it's little differences between the numerical values, but they do make a lot of changes, and they do impact the overall composition. So we also stretch up the maximum height a little more, give them more height. This is way too much height, because what you want to do is you want to keep it like present, but not too much. So around 150 maybe. 150 seems alright. And yeah, and we're gonna make this one a side A and side B, so it's both. It's working with both sides. You can see here it makes this it's really cool skeleton around it. And since here the music ends, we're not going to get any more visualization here, so we're just going to be working in this part. Alright, so maybe we can actually turn down the frequency bands a little more. and maximum height a little more. So it's kind of there, but it's like stealthy. Maximum height, let's put it a little bit more. Okay, yeah. This looks like it's alright. And now we can actually get down to it and change the colors. Let's get to the colors part. And I'm gonna make the outside color the darker one. So it's really because I have noted it from before, from the first composition, from the actual video that I've made in the beginning of the video. I will just be giving in the color codes to make it easier for you, or you can, of course, this is really how you desire the color to be. You might not even want this emblem, but I will just give the color code to the colors I've used in the beginning. So it's 7C 009B. So this is how you get this dark outside color for the emblem. We could have done this and we could have duplicated it, but let's just do it again here quickly. Again, I could just take this and add it to the last one straight away. Control V, and now we got the purple, the dark purple going on here. And for the inside color, I'll go ahead and make it a C000FF, and that is the color code for the lighter direction. As you can see here, it's making this really cool contrast between both colors, and this is how we get this interesting look. So again, I'll just copy it here, and last time copy it back here. So we've got this really cool colors going on, and it really fits the color scheme of PlanetSide 2, and especially the Vanir Sovereignty. Yeah, so this is how we can do the first part of the emblem, and now we'll get onto the second part. Or actually, we can just add in the glows around the audio spectrum over here. So we can go back to our effects and presets, glow, or again layer stylize, layer effect. Sorry, no, not layer effect. Stylize and glow. And so I'm just gonna drag out the glows here, and let's put them all around all three of the visualizers, and you can see we're getting this lighter effect here with this, and it's looking a lot better. Yeah, so this is how we can do it for the first part of the emblem, and then we can also do it to the ring part. So let's get to that. Okay, so last time we stopped at visualizing the first part of the emblem, and we haven't started in the circle behind. So now I'm just going to get to my opacity here and bring it up, so we know what we're visualizing here in the back for the ring. And I'll go to layer now, so we can visualize the ring in the back here. Go to layer, new, layer new, solid, and we'll name it later. Let's just create that solid now. And we go to effects and presets and bring another audio spectrum. You want to do this separate layers because that's another separate part in the background that we will be changing its position through the layer characteristics, etc. Okay, so now we have the audio spectrum over here, and we're going to trail it to the music file, the original soundtrack, PlanetSide 2, and you can see that shape is already starting to happen here. So with my ring OD spectrum selected here to make the shape, we'll go here to shapes and to the ellipse tool straight away. So we can press from the middle and shift, and we can drag out to create a straight circle here, straight ellipse mask. And now I can hit Control T so I can grab out my free transform over here. And from the side here, this is just a tip to, like, if you want to adjust and correct the size that you want to align with the specific layer. So now I've created this, and I hit the free transform, and now it's kind of surrounding it better. It's perfect now actually, and we can just hit the move tool and Control D so we can deselect. Okay, so we got our mask, the first mask over here, and we can just hit here to make it mask, and now we can play around with the inside colors to change it to make it that green that is shown by the image over here. So I'll again be giving the color codes, and for the inside color, we'll make it a 00FF18, and for the outside color, it will be 3D FF and 54. These are the two color codes for the background of the ring over here, as shown by the image. Okay, so now we can get to the frequencies and the start frequency, the maximum heights, and we can adjust them. For the first part, I'll be creating the digital display option, and that'll be from side A to side B as it shows over here, and that is normally the default one, so don't worry about it. The frequency bands, we're going to make it a little higher than 64, maybe like something like 150, 170. 170 is good. Yep. And if I can just go back to my full here, and you can see how 170 is looking. It's looking pretty good. So I brought it back to a third, actually a quarter now. Let's bring it to a quarter. And now we can adjust also the maximum heights for this. Actually, this seems like an alright maximum height. Let's keep it again. What was it? 480. 480 is an alright maximum height. And we'll give it a thickness of 6. And maximum height and the frequency bands are done now. So this is for the first part of the ring visualizing. And now to actually make it not get interrupted by these visualizing that we've made before from these analog layers for the first part of the emblem, we can drag the layer itself and make it under these, so it's no longer, so it's just happening in the back. It's not going over the actual emblem. Oh yeah, another tip here is you can see we get these really edged parts over here, and to heal this problem and to avoid it, we get here to our mask 2 option, and we can, it's normally set to add, so you can just make it to none, and now you can see it's got all the freedom at once, and now the maximum height really pops up. Okay, so now I can, let's just rename this for now, digital, and side A and B. And now I can duplicate it so I can create my other visualizer in the back here. Okay, so now we can do the analog lines. For the analog lines, it will be for only side B, not side A and B, side B. And for the start frequency, of course, the same, everything. Until for the frequency bands, we'll get it down a little more. Maybe to 90, 100. 105 seems alright. Yeah, 105 it will be. And for the maximum height, we'll make that a lot. We'll just get to 900 maybe. As you can see, it's creating these really cool visuals already. And yeah, we can make it go to 900. 900 seems alright. Yeah, 900. And yeah, for the thickness it will be the same as well. Maybe a larger thickness. Maybe 6-ish. How about 10? And what if I just quickly get to my phone, I can see more. I see better here if we need to make it thicker or not. Softness will keep it the same, and the thickness it'll be around 6. Yeah, 6 looks alright. Maybe up to 7.6. 7.6 is alright. Yeah, that's good thickness. Yeah, so this is done. We're done here with the first part of the second part, the digital. Okay, it's no longer the digital, now it's the analog lines. So let me just quickly rename this analog lines side B. And for the last part now, I will Control D to duplicate this, and I'll get to my last visualizer here, my last display option, which will be the analog dots. Alright, and for the analog dots, it won't be either side A or side B. It's side A and B or side B. It will just be side A. And so we can adjust it to make it look better. Now we'll keep the start frequency, of course, the same. And again, let's bring up the frequency bands so we can see something happening on the screen here. That's the frequency bands of the. Okay, we can actually pop up the maximum height more to see. Okay, I can just make it half for now, and you can see how the analog dots are looking, and we actually bring down the thickness of these, perhaps to like 3. A 3 or 5.80. 5.80. Okay, maybe even less. 5.5 is alright. And the maximum height, yeah, we brought it up so much here so we can actually see it. Well, not too much, because otherwise what will happen is that it'll start to grow out of control and it will look like chaos. It will be chaotic over here. But it'll be chaotic over here, so maximum height, the maximum height will be around 2,000. Not 8,000, that's way too much, as we said. So around 2,700, maybe even less, a little less. So it's equally distributed over here. And yeah, this looks alright. The frequency bands is also make it a little more, around 200, so we're getting more variety of movement over here. 220, 200. This seems alright. So as you can see, we've created this really cool visuals in the background here. And yeah, now if I go back and turn down the opacity, we can see the changes that happened. Yeah, now we can see the visualizer that we've made. So until here, we're done with both visualizations from both parts of the emblem. Now the emblem itself is done, so next up will be the trim paths and the text along with the timer that we'll be creating. Alright, so now we can actually, after we're done with the visualization, we can get back into the working with the actual audio that we have. So now we can do the timing and the addresser, or the indicator, the song indicator, music audio indicator that we talked about previously. And to do that, we are going to call up our pen tool with nothing selected. Make sure nothing is selected, so we can just quickly grab our pen tool here. And from here I will hit. We're just going to make a quick rectangle, which will be the shape that will be following around onto the composition here. So I hit from this to this, from here to here, and from here just a quick rectangle, yeah. You can actually make it a little smaller. So we're just gonna start from here to here to here to here and stops here. Alright, so we're gonna also increase the thickness a little more. 7, make it 7. And if we zoom in a little more now, we can see that it's created this really cool barrier around here, and this will be the actual timer kind of that we will be creating. Okay, so to actually create the timing, we will start here from the get our playhead, the playhead that the cursor is highlighting right now, and drag it to the beginning of the composition. And now under shape 1, under this drop down over here, make it add and trim paths. So we got trim paths on now, and to make this timer, we hit our end key, make it at 100%, it's fine, and we're going to scrub through till the end of the music and make it 0%. Alright, so what we've got now is this timer, and as you can see, because we've created both keyframes from the beginning to the end, now it's also synced with the song itself, with the audio itself. So if I scrub through here, you can see that as the audio finishes, it also that line also finishes and disappears. But we can also give it another effect, which is the other way around. We can go back to our end, but instead of 100, we make it start at 0. And this actually is the one that makes more sense. So if we scrub back to the end of the music here, and we shoot it up to 100, now we should be getting this from up to bottom to right to up effect over here. So this is actually what we're looking for, since it looks like it's a completion, and it's a completion as well with the song when it ends. Okay, so now we've actually created that timer, which that's done, and if we can just call it quickly timer rectangle, for example, timer rectangle. Okay, and now to actually make it with the timer, because we're also going to be creating a text timer. So to do that, we're just going to hit here and get our text tool and make it 0000. And of course, we're going to be applying the time code for it. So maybe this is not the best color for it. We can give it this with my color picker tool here. I'll get one of these dark purple, maybe even darker. This looks right. This looks cool. So yeah, we got the timer where we got the time text here. Okay, so to actually apply the time, I'm gonna get back here to my advanced expression over here, and I will take this code and as well. Again, I will be linking this in the description, so you can take this code here and Control-C, and under time here, if I go to my drop down, I can get to text, and from here I can hit Alt onto this keyframe stopwatch button here, and now I can just paste the code that I've just copied. And if I just scroll up or scroll down here, you can see that the text and the code has been input into the dialog. So if I just click away now, it already has applied that timer. And if you can see, if I scrub through here, you can see that the time is changing and it is adapting to the time of the composition. Well, now it's for the composition, but it's also working and adapting with the time of the song itself, of course, since it's in the composition. Now, to actually create this interesting tailoring effect here, that the time is going around with the rectangle, what we can do is that, of course, we're going to use our position tool. But first we need to indicate, we need to know where it starts, where that line starts. And now that we know, we can hit our text object here that we've created. And from here I will grab my text that I've just created, text tool, and I'll adjust this position to make it fit with the timer rectangle here, the trim paths shape that we've created. So now that it's aligned, now we can use our position tool. And to do that, I'll do that by actually going down to transform and making this first part my initial position. And now, the more I actually increase the size of this, the more I scrub through here, of course, this is generating the trim paths that we just created. And to do that, to just make it tailor, since we've already created that keyframe here with this stopwatch, I can just shift left side with my keyboard here, and let's just make it go really quickly. Of course, the more detail you want would be to actually analyze each and every single keyframe, but that doesn't really matter since we're actually going in a straight line for now. So now that we've reached a turning point, we might want to kind of make it fold down a little more and get it back in, and now we can adjust it and make it go down again. And we're trying to sync it as much as possible, sync its movement as much as possible with the rectangle that is going on here. So if I just zoom out and keep on going down more, and I scrub through, keep on going down more, scrub through now, and I can go next. Now I'm going right. If I scrub through even more now, I'm going even more right, just so I can get that completion done. Or again, right one more time. Alright, so, oops, maybe I can get back that part here, and just to make it sync with the last position here, now I can scrub through up again, and text is going up with it, of course, because that's what we're looking for, that's what we're targeting. And we're almost done, as you can see, with the song and the actual timer. So if I can just get here, and I'm already closing it almost. Alright, so we're getting this effect that we wanted, and now we're ending it. So this is how we can this is how you can tailor this specific text to move around with the trim paths. And as you can see here, if I scrub through, it doesn't look, of course, really neat right now because I've done this really roughly. But the more time you give to it, and the less the distance between each keyframe, of course, that indicates how smooth it will be, and how, of course, how professional you can get with your audio spectrum. But yeah, we've ended here with composition, with the song, and actually with our tutorial. However, maybe we can add, to make it more of a song identifier, we can add the last text tool, which is to tell what actual song it is. So now I can, I'm just showing here as I scrub through, and if I can just play it quickly, you can see how it's going with the timer, and here's a turning point where it's actually going to go up. So yeah, you can see that it's working pretty well and neatly. So yeah, it's working alright. And if I can just maybe make it half here, yeah, you can see it really looks really good with Visualizer. Yeah, so now we can add our last text tool just to make the song identifier here, and we can call it, of course, maybe Vanu Sovereignty. Let me just make the text bigger, make the box bigger. Vanu Sovereignty, and we'll add a -OST. Alright, so we have created this text tool here. Maybe if I can just give it a white, it'll make it look interesting, more interesting. So yeah, this is the song over here. We've created that title, or we've named the song here, and this is how you can make that song identifier. And for example, if you want to give it some more interesting movement to it, we can perhaps make it start here, for example, at 100, and maybe 5 seconds in you want to like make it disappear. So we create another keyframe, and then we put to 0%, so we make it an instant disappearing. Or you can make it, of course, gradual by adjusting the distance between the keyframes here. As you can see, this is going more gradual if we drag out the keyframe. And of course, we can get it back up here and make it 0%, and back to 100, so it's going quickly. And yeah, maybe you want to go back here and make it again 0%, make it disappear, fade out, and then maybe introduce a new text over here that says, we'll just make it say PlanetSide 2. Alright, and yeah, we can make this text tool that we just dragged in live from this time on forward. So maybe 0% opacity from the beginning. And until this one disappears, maybe we can bring it back up from here. PlanetSide 2. And yeah, this is how we can create these really interesting effects. And of course, you can, as much as you want to adjust around with these, you can really get to the best and the actual effect that you desire. But this had been the end of the tutorial of the actual this was the last tutorial in our series, the advanced audio spectrums. And I really hope you liked this video and hope it helped you out in creating song identifiers and music visualizers in After Effects. But this was my time. I'm Mohammed Al-Saidi from MSAIDI'S Visualizers, and again, I hope you like this video. So yeah, this is the end of our series, and thank you so much for keeping up with my series and my previous introductional tutorials. And yeah, have a nice day.